What do you think about discipline? Is it a form of restriction? Or is it the way we learn to become the guide of our own life? Because sometimes, true freedom isn't about doing everything you want. It's about knowing what truly deserves your energy. Hi, my friend. This is Wendy, and welcome back to the Heal and Grow podcast. A quiet space where we learn to live with more softness and love ourselves a little more each and every day. Tonight, I want to share with you a truth that sounds like a paradox, but once you truly feel it, it might just change the way you see your life forever. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Because most of us grew up believing that discipline means restriction and freedom means doing whatever we want. But what if freedom doesn't come from doing everything, but from knowing how to choose? We often exhaust ourselves trying to control everything outside of us, forgetting that the only thing we truly need to master is what's happening within. And that's when discipline becomes a journey toward freedom. Let me ask you this. How many times have you said, "I want to be free"? Free from stress, from pressure, from expectations. And yet, how often do we find ourselves trapped? Not by others, but by our own habits, impulses, or fears. When you lack discipline, your emotions become your master. You want to be calm, but anger leads you. You want to be focused, but distractions pull you away. Discipline, in its true essence, isn't about control. It's about self-mastery. It's the bridge between intention and reality. And when you build that bridge, you no longer live at the mercy of how you feel in the moment. When you're disciplined with your body, you gain health. When you're disciplined with your money, you gain freedom. When you're disciplined with your emotions, you gain peace. A disciplined person doesn't wait for motivation. They do what matters, even when they don't feel like it, because they know, I don't do it because I want to. I do it because I've already chosen. Think about it. What does your mind feel like when you're not centered? Busy, restless, always reacting to everything around you? A mind without discipline is like an open window in a storm. Everything gets in. Noise, fear, distraction, doubt. But when you practice discipline, even in small ways, you begin to create inner stillness. Like sitting quietly each morning, writing down what you're grateful for, or pausing to breathe instead of reacting. These moments aren't about control, they're about clarity. Discipline helps you create order in your energy. You begin to see what truly matters and what's just noise. You work when it's time to work. You rest when it's time to rest. You stop trying to do everything and start doing the right things deeply. And little by little, you start to notice life feels lighter, simpler, and more peaceful. And I've felt that too in my own life. There was a time in my life when I thought freedom meant doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I stayed up late, worked only when I felt inspired, and avoided everything that made me uncomfortable. But over time, I realized that wasn't freedom. It was exhaustion, confusion, and a quiet kind of guilt that followed me everywhere. One day, I decided to do something small. I started waking up 15 minutes earlier, just to sit in silence and write a few lines of gratitude. Not because I wanted to be more productive, but because I wanted to feel at peace inside my own day. And slowly, from that tiny act of discipline, everything began to shift. My mornings felt calmer, my mind clearer, and my heart lighter. That's when I realized discipline isn't about control. It's about caring enough to give yourself structure so you can finally breathe in peace. Ryan Holiday once wrote, "Discipline is what keeps us from becoming slaves to our own desires." And it's true. Every time we say no to something, we're really saying yes to 1,000 better possibilities. Everyone wants freedom, but freedom isn't doing whatever you feel like. True freedom is the ability to choose what's right, even when it's hard. Discipline doesn't take joy away. It gives you the power to protect your joy from chaos. And one of the most beautiful signs of discipline is keeping promises to yourself. You don't need to announce it to the world. You just quietly do what you said you'd do, because you respect yourself. Each time you follow through, you strengthen the bridge of trust within you, and that trust becomes your deepest form of confidence. Let me ask you, how would your life feel if you truly trusted yourself to do what you say? True freedom isn't about escaping limits. It's about knowing who you are, what you want, and being committed to it. A disciplined life isn't rigid. It's intentional. It doesn't come from force. It comes from meaning, when you have a clear why. Discipline feels less like pressure and more like devotion. You don't work out because you fear aging. You do it because you want to stay healthy, to walk with your loved ones a little longer. That's love, not control. Discipline is also about designing a life that fits you, knowing when you lose focus, when you need rest, and building rhythms that support your growth, not punish it. People with discipline don't hate themselves into success. They love themselves enough not to abandon themselves. They don't demand perfection. They choose patience, one small step at a time, because they know freedom isn't found overnight. It's built quietly, through every daily choice. You know, I used to think discipline was a kind of punishment, a way of forcing myself to be better. But the deeper I went into my healing journey, the more I realized discipline is actually an act of self-love. When I eat on time and rest when I should, I'm telling my body, I care about you. When I focus on what truly matters instead of scrolling endlessly through my phone, I'm telling my mind, I respect you. And when I keep the promises I make to myself, even the smallest ones, I'm telling my heart, I trust you. Discipline, in its softest form, is just another way of saying, I love you enough to show up for you. So tonight, remember this. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It unlocks it. Only when you learn to lead yourself, you stop being pulled by the noise of the world. You live with direction, with peace, and with depth. Discipline isn't a chain. It's the wings that set you free. When you learn to master your thoughts, your habits, and your choices, you're not limiting your life. You're expanding it. And that, my friend, is what true freedom feels like. Quiet, intentional, and fully alive. And if you're wondering, where do I even begin? Start small. One thing, done gently, every single day. Wake up 10 minutes earlier to sit in silence and breathe. Or write down one thing you're grateful for before bed. Or simply put your phone down and spend 5 quiet minutes being truly present with yourself. You don't have to change everything. Just choose one thing and keep your word to yourself. Because every time you keep a small promise, you strengthen the belief that you can trust yourself. And from that trust, all change begins to bloom. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about returning to what truly matters, again and again with love. If this episode touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that structure can be love, and discipline can be peace. I'm Wendy, And this is Heal and Grow Podcast. Until next time, take a deep breath and keep becoming the person you're proud of.